Hello, Ian Young, Somatic Movement Coach here with the first in a series of somatic movement videos, and I'm going to start with a very familiar movement to those of you that attend my classes. We often start our classes with this movement because it starts in the centre of the body, using that somatic principle of starting in the centre and working outwards, centre to periphery. And it's a very important movement for releasing the front and back of the body, and also we'll move on from that, which is the arch and flatten, into the recalibration of the pelvis, where we're trying to even up the two sides of us, so working on what we call the trauma or the avoidance reflex, where we end up with one side of our body that isn't functioning as well as the other, and we call it the bad side. Oh, that's my bad side, my bad knee, my bad hip. We tend to not try to use those terms in somatic movement. Maybe the side that is functioning less well and needs more care and attention, so that we're not immediately giving it that kind of negative connotation to it. So let's begin. Let's lie on our back as always. As before we do a somatic movement, let the legs go long if that's comfortable on your lower back, and then just feel into what's occurring in your soma, the body as experienced by you from the inside, everything that's going on for you that day, and we're just going to notice. So for me, I'm noticing, there's contact at the back of this left hip, and it feels all kind of connected and lengthened, and this side I can't quite get the weight into on that side. Feels like my chin's a little bit up towards the ceiling. It could be relaxed down a bit more. Doesn't feel like it wants to at the moment. There's some sort of tightness between the shoulder blades. I can put my hand in the lower back on both sides and see quite a pronounced arch there at this stage, and what's the tone of the muscles. So I've got a good level of somatic awareness before I start to use as a baseline, so that we know as we go through. The wonderful thing about somatics, you can feel it working, so we can really tune in and notice what's changed as we do this movement. So to begin, we're going to slide the heels towards us. Bring the knees up, find that comfortable place, feet just hip distance apart, which is often not as far apart as people think, and we're just going to relax as much as we can in that position, keep the pelvis nice and neutral, and we're going to start to breathe deep into the belly, and you can put a hand on there if that helps. So I'm going to breathe deeply in through the nose, belly swells, and then I'm going to sigh out through my mouth. We talk about a whispered R. Making that sound just opens the throat, relaxes this whole area. So the next time I breathe in, I'm going to deliberately roll my pelvis forwards, tailbone comes down between my legs, the lower back arches more, and then as I sigh out, flattening down very slightly in the centre, tailbone lifts, and the pelvis rolls back towards me. And then just notice what's happening with your head as you're doing the movement. So as we roll forward, the chin comes down to the chest. You feel that pull in the back of the neck. As we press down gently in the centre, the chin lifts. So the opposite is happening in the back of the neck. As I arch the centre of my body, the back of the neck lengthens and flattens, my chin comes down. And then as I flatten in the centre, the chin floats up. And there's more of a curve in the back of the neck. So we're actually arching and flattening in two different places in the spine. And you might also feel how that area between the shoulder blades gets contracted and then lengthens. So we're actually lengthening the back of the neck as we're doing this as well. But perhaps the most important thing we're doing, apart from getting this pelvis moving, is as we breathe out, we're going to tighten in the front of the body. The chest comes down as well, everything becomes tight. And then as we breathe in, the front of the body lengthens, the chest lifts. We find length in the front of the body, and we find we're really contracting in the back of the body. So, and we're going to lengthen in the back of the body as we tighten in the front. And this is this technique that we use very regularly in our somatic movement called pandiculation, where we squeeze into a tightness, we contract more into a tightness, and then we create length, and that's what allows the muscles to lengthen. And you'll find suddenly like, oh, whereas if maybe you have a collapse in the front normally and the chest is a bit sunk and chin's forward, this can encourage length in the front. Or if you're more green light, as we call it, where you're tight in the back of the body, maybe you can find that that arch starts to slowly float down and reduce and create length in the back of the body. So the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to notice, so as I was doing my arching and flattening, I noticed that I was actually feeling weight in the left hip and not in my right hip. So I'm going to see if I can recalibrate that a little bit. So on my in-breath, I'm going to now deliberately roll towards whichever hip feels easier for you. For me, it's this side. I can feel it. If you're not sure, do a little test, one side then the other, and you'll probably feel like this is a little stuck feeling. I can't kind of get across to that side. So then I'm going to go back to the easeful side, and I'm going to use another somatic principle, more of the same, doing what the body wants to do to begin with. And it feels familiar, easy, comfortable to roll towards this hip. If you ever have this habit of sitting with, or standing, sorry, with your weight in one side of the pelvis, sitting across with the weight all across into one side, it's probably the side that you find it easiest to roll towards. And then we're going to, once that feels easy and familiar and comfortable, hope that the other side might have learned a little bit from that process, but starting just really gently, not forcing it. We're just going to trust the process. We're going to roll that weight, and on this side particularly I'm feeling like I want to press down the opposite shoulder a little bit more just to help the movement, because I'm arching on that diagonal now, and then I'm flattening. The body moves in a lot of diagonals, so we're working these diagonals by doing this as well. There's a diagonal X of muscles across the back of the body that we're now getting involved. Yeah, I just noticed I'm just using my hands to encourage the sense in my brain of how this works, finding length each time. And it's feeling a lot more easy and familiar and comfortable now. So I notice, yeah, my knees can feel like they can be a bit more bent up, and yeah, as I breathe in and out now, my rolling back and forwards is feeling very different, and yeah, my head wants to move more as well. So nice to go back to the arch and flatten after you've done the recalibration of the pelvis, because then you can feel, oh yeah, so that's what it felt like. It was like one of these hips was gripping a little bit and stopping the flow, and now it feels like it's moving more freely. And then we can come back to straight legs again, and we can, yeah, so the curve in my lower back has relaxed, and the tone of the muscles is more relaxed. The weight in the two sides of the pelvis feels more even. And I can feel a bit more length in the back of the neck. Yeah, the chin is much further down towards the chest. So for anyone who experiences tightness in the front or back of their body, or if they have a difference down each side of them, this is a really wonderful practice. It's something that I do daily, and I really highly recommend that you do so too. So if you've enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you in the next video.